The truth is that nobody finds their purpose. You have to create your purpose. You are your purpose. And the more you take action on your interests, on the things that you feel excited about, the more clear your purpose becomes. Most people lack purpose and they feel like life is meaningless because they never actually take action. They wait for life to show them what to do and what their purpose is. But the question is what to take action on, because there is an infinite number of possibilities nowadays and people are so overwhelmed with what to do. I struggled with this for years. It was almost 4 years ago when I seriously started thinking about actually quitting my job and working for myself. This whole idea of working for someone else and having to spend most of my time somewhere else working on someone else's goals, it never sat right with me. And I never saw myself doing that for the rest of my life. So I dabbled in a lot of things, trading, affiliate marketing, questionable schemes, a lot of random stuff that never really got anywhere. I always quit after like a month. But over the years, I realized that the reason most people quit, and I also quit so many things, is because they don't see a clear purpose. They don't have a strong why they're doing it. I always just wanted to be free, but I didn't see the path of what I was doing, the whole affiliate marketing stuff and all of these random things. I never saw the path and I never was excited about what I was doing. And this is the problem for most people. They try a random business because they want to make money, but they actually hate the work itself. They don't feel excited about doing it. They don't feel interested. And this is the problem. This is why most people never actually get to the life they want, because they don't look for their purpose. They don't look for what they actually want, but they look for the fastest way to get rich or the easiest way to free yourself from a job. If we don't find that thing that we want to do, if we don't create purpose in our life, we will find something else to fill that hole. And that's usually where people play video games all day, they take drugs, they do illegal stuff, random things to fill that hole, that emptiness. So here's 5 steps to identify what you actually want and what to take action on. The first step is to stop distracting yourself. I always talk about this. People constantly chase distractions, constantly chase pleasure, and they numb themselves because they have this feeling inside of them. They lack purpose, they lack meaning. They don't actually know what they want from life. So they constantly smoke weed, they constantly scroll, they constantly watch random stuff on YouTube or Netflix or whatever. And they always consume all of this stuff because they want to fill this emptiness. The problem is, if you don't know your purpose, that's because you're filling your life with all of this meaningless stuff, with all of these distractions, that there is no space for you to actually think, for you to actually find what you want to do. And this is where most people get stuck, because all of these random meaningless distractions, they are the exact thing that keeps you from knowing what to do instead. So if you don't know what your purpose is, but you're constantly distracting yourself and you're numbing yourself with pleasure, then how are you going to find that thing? How are those ideas going to come to you if you fill your mind with all of this bullshit and if there is no empty space? So realize that you need empty space in your mind and in your life to find what you want to take action on. And the second step is to reflect on your childhood. Because when we were kids, there were no expectations on us, at least for most of us. There was no system that we have to get into. There was no expectations on who we have to be and what we have to do. We just played and did whatever we felt like. We followed our interests. We followed our passion. That's what we did as children. But as soon as we get older and we go to school, people start setting expectations. People start putting conditions on life itself, and they start telling us who we have to be and how we have to fit in, all of these different things. But when we're children, we don't have that. So we're free to explore and do whatever we feel like, whatever we want to. And we don't worry about outcomes. We don't worry about who we're supposed to be. And that's why in your childhood, you did exactly the things that you were meant to do, that you are naturally inclined to do. So you were actually following your purpose as a child. So if there's any interest, any topics, any themes that you remember from your childhood, go back to that. Go exploring again into those things. If there was something you were obsessed with, something your parents couldn't pull you away from, maybe. I remember for me, it was always filming stuff, always, doing random video clips of clicking pause and then removing something, and like these little random experiments with the camera. It was clear to me when I started thinking about this that I wanted to do something that involves filming, that involves a camera. Maybe you can ask your parents or someone else that remembers, or maybe you even remember yourself. What was that one thing, or what were these things that you constantly felt pulled towards over and over again? And these interests, these topics, are exactly where your purpose is hidden, where it's found. The third step is to ask yourself questions. The first question is, what would you do if you had unlimited money, if you were already rich, but you still had to work? What would you work on? This is the key, because most people, they think they want freedom, they think they want money. But the truth is that if you were given all the money, if you were given all the freedom, you would still feel this emptiness, because you still wouldn't have a goal. Most people say, well, I would travel, I would buy everything I can imagine. But well, after 2 years of traveling, you kind of get tired at some point, and you will want to create something, you will want to do something. So what would you do if you already had all the money? What would you work on if you had to work on something? And this opens a lot of doors. So just take a piece of paper and let that question simmer in your mind. Come up with something. If all the money was already there, what would you choose to work on? And another question you can ask yourself is, who do I want to be remembered as? Or what do I want other people to say about me? If you had to put that into one sentence, what would that look like? Sometimes, instead of trying to find your purpose and trying to find that one thing, it's easier to ask yourself, like, what do you actually want to be known for? What do you want other people to say about you? Maybe if you look 10 years into the future, what do you want people that don't know you personally, what do you want them to say about you? Or even more extreme, what do you want to be remembered as after your life ends? Come up with something and try to put that into a single sentence. This will obviously change over time, but if it can give you a direction on what you actually want, maybe something reveals itself to you that you've never actually thought about. So who do you want to be remembered as? What do you want other people to say about you? Think about that and write it into one sentence. The fourth step is to use fear as a signpost rather than a warning, because most people do the opposite. They let fear dictate their decision. They don't do something when they're scared of it. But you have to change your thinking to be the exact opposite. You have to do the things that you're scared of. Most people let fear dictate their life. They let fear choose for them. And that's why they have no control. What is actually the point of fear? The point of fear is to protect you from physical harm. But how many of the things that you fear are actually threatening your life? I'd argue almost none, if any, probably none. It's all psychological. But when fear is involved, it's always a sign towards something bigger. If you're anxious about something, if you're fearful about something, ask yourself, why are you fearful? Why are you scared of that outcome or that situation? And I'd say it's because it's something meaningful in there. Something is hidden beyond that action that creates fear in you, that enables you to grow, that enables you to get to the next step, that enables you to get one step closer to your purpose. And this is what I did when I traveled to Asia. When I quit my job and I flew to Asia, I forced myself into social situations because that's what I was terrified of. I had crippling social anxiety. And in those few months, I deliberately put myself in uncomfortable situations. I faced the biggest fear I had. And after doing this for a few days or a few weeks, the fear was almost completely gone. And on that trip, I tapped into a deeply fulfilling, magical state even. And I met the right people at the right exact time. I went on adventures with complete strangers. And I genuinely had an incredible experience that completely changed my life and that got me closer to my purpose. Simply because I faced my fears. Fear is not a sign to step back. Fear is not a sign to give up. Fear is a sign to double down on the exact thing that you fear. The exact thing that you're scared about is what you need to do. Because if it's easy, if it doesn't evoke any kind of fear in you, any kind of anxiety in you, then it's not your purpose. Then it's not a path that's meant for you. Because if it's meaningful, it will evoke fear. So choose the fear deliberately instead of letting it decide for you, instead of letting it push you in some direction. And the fifth step is to take action on your excitement. Because deep down, you already know what you need to do. You already know the thing that you actually want. Most of us don't allow themselves to actually want that. They don't allow themselves their desires. But deep down, you already know, because your soul is speaking to you through your excitement, through your interests, through the things that make you feel alive. Whatever it draws you towards, whatever makes you feel excited, that's exactly where you need to explore. But most people don't do that. Most people go where everyone else is going. Most people go where it's safe, where it feels certain. They never actually choose the things that they're excited about, that they feel drawn towards, because society convinced them that it's somehow wrong to do that. But the truth is that life gives you these little nudges, these little moments of excitement, of feeling something that you feel drawn towards, almost like little breadcrumbs. And the further you go, the more is revealed to you. If you take the next step into your excitement, the next step after that is revealed. And I've learned that the more you trust yourself, the more you align with your purpose. So the more you just do the things that feel right to you without thinking about the consequences, without thinking about what other people are going to think of you, without thinking about what job are you going to work next or whatever. The more you trust yourself and just follow what feels right, the more you align with your purpose. So you need to break out of this mundane routine, this mundane life that everyone else is living. And you have to start doing the things that you actually feel pulled towards, that you feel inside are right for you, even if you're scared. And this brings me back to the whole point of this video, which is that purpose isn't found, it's created. You slowly build it through taking action on your excitement, through taking action on the things that you feel pulled towards. Your purpose is not discovered through some magical epiphany. It's not discovered through some miracle that suddenly you know exactly what you need to do. It's slowly unraveled through getting out of your comfort zone and doing the things that you feel scared of. So step 1, stop distracting and numbing yourself. Step 2, reflect on your childhood. Step 3, ask yourself open-ended questions like, what would you do if their money wasn't a problem, or if status wasn't a problem, but you still had to work? Step 4 is use fear as a signpost, not a warning. And step 5 is to follow your excitement. Take action on your excitement. This is the path. So if you're ready to dive deeper into this, into finding your purpose, taking action, removing the resistance that you feel within, check out my newsletter, because that's where I go way more in depth into these kinds of topics. So if you're interested in that, check that out. It's free. And write in the comments what you're committing to right now, what excitement you're following right now. Commit yourself right now, because if you don't do that right now, another year goes past without you actually doing the things that you truly want, without you breaking out of the situation that you feel trapped in. So commit yourself in the comments right now, leave a like on this video, subscribe to the channel, and I'll see you in the next video.